welcome to video day number 10, however you're moving through this. Today we're going to focus on kneeling warrior. Again, another pose that you will commonly see in yoga class, and so you're just supposed to know how to go into it. So let's get started. Now, actually, before we begin, kneeling warrior can be kind of tricky if you have crabby knees. I have crabby knees. So if you have a towel or a blanket to have nearby, grab that. Otherwise, if you don't, I'll show you another way to help pad your knees, okay? All right, so let's begin. Tadasana. Lift up on your toes, spread them apart, ground down, bend your knees slightly, neutral pelvis, engage your core, lift your rib cage up, relax your shoulders away from your ears, arms by your side, gaze out in front of you. Take that cleansing breath or two. Maybe your body's getting a little bit better at kind of saying, oh, okay, yep, we're doing this now. Maybe it transitions a little quicker than the first few days. Stops making the lists and everything else that your brain just likes to continuously do. And instead, you just can kind of focus on your breathing and your body and how you are feeling. So often we don't pay attention to our bodies unless something hurts, right? So it's really nice to tune in when it actually feels pretty good and just sort of notice all the lovely little things that it does for us. Couple more breaths here. All right, exhale, ground down into all four corners of your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, tip your pelvis, let your head and hands hang. Inhale, come up, hands to shin, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down into those feet as you rise up, arms reach overhead. Exhale, hands down by your side. You notice we do these a lot. These are amazing warm-ups and also a really sneaky kind of core warm-up because that flat back, you're really engaging your core without having to do crunches or any of that other kind of annoying exercise. So exhale, ground down into all four corners of your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, flat back, tip your pelvis, engage your core, nice flat back all the way down. Inhale, lift halfway up. Again, engage in your core slightly. Exhale, fold. Inhale, leading with the back of the crown of your head. Nice flat back all the way up. You can have a bend in your knees. And inhale, hands down by your side. Exhale, ground down into all four corners. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Put your seat back, moving into chair pose. Engage your core. We don't want that big sag in your back. Arms, try to lift them up overhead. Try to wrap your shoulders. Really engaging all the way along your back. Breathing here. And then exhale, fold. Hang out here for a couple of breaths. You can really bend your knees to tip your pelvis. And then plant your hands, step back to your hands and knees. Wrists directly under your shoulders, fingertips spread wide, pointer fingers forward. Hips directly above your knees, your toes are uncurled. Exhale, ground down into your knuckles. Inhale, chest forward and up, tip your tailbone up towards the sky. Exhale, round your back, curl your tailbone under, gaze towards your toes, really round your back. Inhale, bring your chest forward and through your shoulders, gaze straight out in front of you, tip your tailbone up towards the sky. Exhale, round, 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 curling your tailbone under. Flow through a few more of these on your own, just listening to your breath, moving your inhale and exhales. after this last cat where you have your tailbone curled under. Come back to a neutral tabletop. We'll all meet up right here. All right, so this is the part where if you need something for your knees, grab a blanket, put it across underneath both your knees. Now, if you don't have a blanket handy, or if you're in class and they just cue this pose, you can grab your mat, just double it over, have your knees on that. Simple solution, right? You can also take your mat and just fold it over the long way. So do what you need to do for your knees. We're just going to be on one knee at a time. That's why they can get a little cranky. So I will do this. You're in tabletop. I want you to, however you gracefully can, bring your right foot forward in between your hands. So watch your mat. If it's curled under, you might need to grab your foot and pull it up. Okay? Now, straighten out my mat here. Bring your hands to your hips and start to rise up. My back toes are curled. That helps me with stability. If that feels funny, you can uncurl your toes, but really make sure that you're pushing all of the tops of your toes into the mat, from your pinky all the way to your big toe. Knee directly on top of your ankle. We don't want to be going past. You can be behind a little bit, ideally directly on top. Again, check in with your pelvis, nice and neutral. Engage your core. Lift your rib cage up. Bring your shoulders away from your ears as you draw your arms up and overhead. Again, wrapping your shoulders, making sure that we're not dumping off to one side. Palms touch. Make sure you're nice and equal. Kneeling warrior. If you need a little more, you can always walk your front foot forward a couple of inches, bending into your knee. Just make sure that you're not dumping into your low back. Sometimes you see this as a big back bend. You want to keep a nice neutral pelvis here. So breathe. Again, if you need to do some switching around for your knee to figure out what feels good, play around here. All right, drop both your hands down to the inside of your front right foot. Walk your foot over just a couple of inches. Knee and toes pointing out just slightly. Again, knee still on top of your ankle. Coming here into just a gentle lizard. If you want to add a little bit of sneaky strengthen, you can just do some teeny little pulses here. Keeping a flat back as you just bend your elbows, lower your chest just slightly towards the ground. Lizard pose, always kind of a big hip opener, so really check in with yourself. Now, however, you can gracefully bring your right foot back into tabletop. You might need to walk your hands back a couple of inches. Nice work. Let's do it on the other side. So if you need to roll your mat over, double it up, something to protect your knees, please do that. And then, however you gracefully can, bring your left foot forward in between your hands. You might need to grab it, move it, however you can get it there. Bring your hands to your hips and slowly rise up. Again, front knee directly on top of the ankle or behind it. Okay, knee and toes point in the same direction. Back toes curled if that feels good, or uncurled, pushing into all the tops of your toenails. Check in with your pelvis. Tailbone points towards the ground. Don't want to be dumping into your back here. Engage your core slightly. Lift up on your rib cage, relax your shoulders, and bring your arms up overhead. Now, even this small movement close to the ground might really test your balance. So if you need to move by a wall, if you feel wobbly, go ahead. I'd rather have you using the support of a wall and holding this pose than feeling all over and like shifting and not feeling confident in this pose. So if you need to grab a wall, do it. Again, really listening to your body, listen to that knee. This can be kind of intense. And then slowly bring your hands down to the inside of your left foot. Walk your left foot over a couple of inches. Toes point out slightly, knee directly on top of your ankle. Lizard pose. Again, if you want to add in that little sneaky bit of strength, you can do little pulses here. Might not seem like a lot, but it does a lot for you. Any kind of little bit of sneak you can get in there fires up your body, gets that heat going. Smile. Couple more breaths here. If you need to back out of this pose, go ahead. Again, like I've said before, just because we land in a pose does not mean you have to stay there. You need to listen to your body. If something's popping or pulling, back out of it. Sensation, not pain. All right, however you gracefully can get there. Come back to tabletop position. Bring your knees as wide as your mat. Big toes to touch. Slowly start to send your hips back towards your heels. If you want that bolster or couch cushion, bring it in. Walk your arms out in front of you, or just stack your fists and put your forehead on top of there. Again, really settling in. You might want to rock from side to side, really letting bellies and boobs just kind of melt towards the ground. There. No use hiding it, no shame. We all have a body, so just move it until it's comfortable. Couple more breaths in child's pose. Kneeling warrior for such a kind of small, close to the ground pose, I think is always kind of intense, just that hip stretch that you get. So really, really tune into your body, tune into your hips. See how you feel. And then slowly start to push yourself up all the way to Sukhasana. Again, move the flesh away from your sitting bones if you're up on a bolster or cushion. Still move your flesh. Bring your heels in towards your seat. Hands down on your knees. Nice neutral pelvis. Engage your core just slightly one more time. Just gently bringing your navel to your spine. And if it would feel good, just close your eyes and take a cleansing breath here. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and then seal off your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And just real quick, just count how long your inhale is here. Maybe it's to 3 or 4. And then on your exhale, try to slow it down just a little bit. Make it a little bit longer. So exhale to 4 or 5 or 6. This unequal breathing is super calming, especially within our autonomic nervous system, kind of that system that sort of runs us on autopilot. This really helps just rein everybody in, calm down. And if it would feel good, bring your hands together at heart center. Gently bow your head. You can bring your hands up to your third eye, your forehead. The light and energy that's within me surrounds me, connects us all together, honors and recognizes the light and energy that's within you and around you. Thank you so much for doing something so good for your body. And when you're ready, gently lower your hands. Blink your